Welcome back again, and let's discuss exclusively about the role play of the China and all those three parties. For example, you mentioned about Vietnam, you mentioned about the Philippines, because I have heard that even the China called this area as the South China Sea, and the world know it as the South China Sea. But the Vietnam call it as the Eastern Sea, right? And the Philippines call it as the Western Philippine Seas. And what are these? Significance of the name that they call?
I think these are historical claims.
Okay.
Each country tries to present their own story, their own historical records to support their claim. I think that's this issue is not important. The important is that how they are dealing with the present. You have to understand that the Philippines and Vietnam are very important to the United States in terms of military alliance. At this point, the United States, would like to build up its military presence in the region. So, Subic Bay in the Philippines, Cam Ranh Bay in Vietnam, and also Utapao Airport
in Thailand, right?
is part of this jigsaw as part of a broad security arrangement to contain China. In the north, in North Asia, you have Japan, Okinawa, and then South Korea, where the U.S. has been maintaining a long-standing military base over there, and then further south, Australia, has become a very strong military partner of the United States. So you see that gradually, the U.S. and its allies, NATO allies, are trying to woo support from the old-time allies, after, allies that have built up relations after World War II together within this arrangement. But importantly, the conflict in South China Sea, you have to view it, you can't view it as an isolated case. It's part of a broader global conflict. Currently, there are some hotspots now going on. The economic crisis, the financial crisis in the Eurozone, in Europe, and you have to remember World War II, World War I, World War II occurred in Europe after some difficulties, in the economic situation after the depression, something like that. So Europe could be a trigger point. And then we also see troubles, internal troubles in Russia going on now. So the containment of China and the containment of Russia is also a part of this broad arrangement, and within the Middle East, you see that Syria is under trouble now. There might be regime change over there. And then it might spill over into Iran. If the conflict flares up in Iran, I'm afraid that we might see a broader regional conflict or global conflict, because Middle East is a major producer of oil and energy. So I don't think that Russia or China or India, would stand by, when countries, in the Middle East, of their alliance, are falling under United States, or under the NATO allies.
So you mentioned about the United States, and some people might say this South China Sea, including these Spratly areas and all those islands, just the area where the superpower just come for exercise their power. Right, this is somebody might make a notion. Is it true that just because you mentioned about other two areas?
Yeah, you have to look beyond the territorial conflict. I don't think essentially it boils down to that. Essentially, I think the main idea, the main theme is that the United States, would like to contain China, because China is preparing to float its currency, its yuan currency. Right now, the major global reserve currencies are in trouble.
Wow.
The euro, we don't know when the eurozone is going to break up, and what's going to happen to the euro. Many countries in the world are holding the euro in their international reserves. Say like the Bank of Thailand. Thailand, we also have reserves in the euro. We also do a lot of trade, international trade with Europe. At the same time, the global status of the US dollar as a reserve currency has also been questioned. After a series of quantitative easing by the Federal Reserve. Quantitative easing meaning that the US authorities are printing money to prop up the economy, to prop up the financial system. And when you print the money, you debase the value of the currency. Countries, oil exporting countries like Saudi Arabia, which is a major ally of the United States, is not very happy because Saudi Arabia is selling oil for dollar, and the United States is about to print out the dollars. So the value, the dollar holdings, of Saudi Arabia, and also, of the Bank of Thailand, will decrease, will have less value, and then meaning that you lose your wealth, along the way. So, and then China is also, the major creditor of the United States. China is the largest holder of the U.S. treasuries, and China is not happy with U.S. money printing. So I think all the countries, all the export-led countries who have been building up their international reserves, after the crisis of 1997, are not happy because they don't want to see the values of their reserves, fall. So I think China is preparing to launch its currency, the yuan currency, to compete against the U.S. dollar. And this is the main reason why a sudden shift in the U.S. policy to pay more attention to the Asia Pacific. Leon Panetta, the Secretary of the Defense Department of the United States, said that that the U.S. will shift its naval capacity, to the Asia Pacific by 60% over the next decade. But I think the timing, will come faster, than we think. I think the U.S. will gradually build up its military base, in this part of the world as part of a broader attempt to contain both China and Russia in Europe.
Well, thank you very much for your thoughtful opinions. And after the short break, we will come back to discuss about the bad effects on Thai economy.